to that many people.
Do you want a job?
No, but like when you get home, I want to have conversation. I want to hear how your day was. I want to hear, oh, Joe.
Hey guys, welcome to Little Blackbird 91. A quick one for you guys. I did a part one where I spoke about Jordan and Megan, and I spoke about how Megan herself is not paying attention to the energy that she's putting out there and the abrasiveness that she's coming across when it comes to the relationship. Part two, I want to talk about Jordan specifically, because this is what I do in coaching. I want to help people. I want to make sure they understand that it takes two to tango. Jordan, in this particular aspect, where I find fault with him is that when it comes to solutions, he is null and void. Okay, all right. In this discussion and conversation, what did he offer as a consolation, or what did he offer as a compromise in this conversation? Nothing really. The only compromise he offered was sit with me on the couch and be silent, which is what he wants. But there was no compromise in actually the connectivity that Megan actually required from him. This is where I find fault with him. And actually, I'm going to say it again. A lot of times, this is what men do. Now, somebody said I was a misogynist last time, so I'm going to say it again. This is a lot of times what men do. A lot of times, what I find with men, when I hear from ladies in terms of what they've experienced, is that there's a wall that they meet and they can't get past the wall. And the reason why there's a wall is because oftentimes the person's not in a solution mode. They're in a mode of it's win or loss. It's not in understanding. So what am I talking about here with Jordan and particularly Megan? In this conversation, there was a part where it came up to being her talking about, I want to be able I want to be able to talk after work, right? Here's a simple solution that could have been brought up. You know what? Give me an hour to decompress and then we talk after. How hard is that? Now, it's easy to say because I'm not in the pressure cooker myself. It's very difficult to say when you're actually in a relationship, because what you're really hearing is my back's against the wall. And when your back's against the wall, what tends to happen is you feel like you're being pressured. And when you're under pressure, solutions become very much more difficult to do because you're in win versus loss mode. So I want to implore anybody listening to this for the next 10 minutes or so. I want you to start thinking about your relationship from not a win or a loss perspective, but from an understanding perspective. How can we both win in this scenario? So let's play a little bit more of the clip, and then I'm gonna get deeper with this conversation.
Mo was a dickhead today, like whatever. Or likewise, I want you to ask how my day was.
I didn't ask how your day was.
I know, but like I know my needs.
Okay, so as we're hearing here, it can be very difficult because already he feels like she's been abrasive. So his back's against the wall. He feels pressured. He feels like she's not really listening to him and hearing him out. Okay, so what ends up happening a lot of times in relationships is what we call resentment. Resentment starts to kick in because you start to feel like the weight of the relationship or the way that people are interacting is being unfair. And if you feel like you're not getting a fair deal, what people tend to do is they start digging their heels in deep, and they're not open to different ways of doing things because now they feel like they're losing and they don't want to lose anymore. By compromising, they feel like they're losing even more. Okay, but what we need to get Jordan to is an understanding that he has needs and so does she. He is a partnership and he needs to fulfill her needs as well as getting her to fulfill his needs. The problem with Jordan is that he's not a great communicator when it comes to his needs and being very direct about it. So what ends up happening is he feels like his needs are not being met. And then if his needs are not being met, his passive aggressiveness is to then remove her needs from the equation. Okay, because clearly what she's telling us is she wants to have a conversation. Cool. You know what? Hey, Megan, I hear it. Give me an hour after work. Here's a solution. Give me an hour after work. I need to decompress. I need to process. I need to sit in my house and just breathe. After that hour, I am good to go, to talk, to speak. Whatever you want to do, I'm down for it. This will be a viable solution, and understanding that your partner still needs connection, but you also need your time to decompress. It's totally understandable. But if you notice, the reason why solutions are hard to do for a lot of men in this scenario is because they're not used to saying their own needs. So they're still thinking about, and I always give this example, that for especially people who are avoidant men, what tends to happen is that they got a plate of food, and each day the plate of the food has been taken. It's less and less and less. And then when it gets to a certain point when they've only got crumbs left, you as a partner ask them for your needs to be met, and it's like, I've got nothing left to give. Like, what else do you want from me? You want my shirt? You want my skin? You want my hair? What else you want? Just take my life while you're here. And what they're not recognizing is that because they've not been able to create good boundaries, because they've not been able to fulfill their needs during the course of the week, what tends to happen is now they are going to create warfare for the relationship. This is not where they should be warring. You should have been warring during the course of the early part of the week to establish boundaries, but we haven't. So now we feel like we've got nothing. Now we feel like, okay, the little bit I've got left, I have to hold on to it. I must keep it tight. And that's what's happening with Jordan and Megan in that space. And again, I said this a lot of times. This is what happens to men a lot of times.
I'm constantly on the go. Like, I'm going to play tennis. I'm doing these things. I could be in LA Tuesday through Thursday. Then I could want to go up to Aspen with my friends for a couple days. And then we get back and we go to happy hour one night.
Now, here's also another thing as well, right? He needs to voice out what he's really feeling in this current moment. Pressure. Yeah. And it's hard because unless you're really in tune with your emotions, it's very difficult to say this. What's happening to Jordan right now? She just said she flies out every day. She does things every day. There's a lot of things going on I don't do. And the easiest thing is to project onto the other person and say, I can't do that, right? Rather than looking at, hold on a minute, what you're telling me now is making me feel some way. A lot of times with people who have an insecure attachment, their first process is to think about self, but then it's also to project at the same time, right? Rather than looking at self and looking at what's happening to you. So for instance, when Megan is saying, I fly out, I go to Aspen's and I do this and I do that. Okay, what are you hearing right now, Jordan? Okay, right now I'm feeling a lot of pressure. I'm a little bit fearful. I'm a little bit concerned, and I won't lie to you, I am feeling a little bit overwhelmed because I recognize that we have two different lifestyles, and I feel pressure to provide for your lifestyle or at least join you in that lifestyle. And I don't feel like I have the capacity to be able to do that right now. And I should be able to come up with a solution, but right now my mind is bubbled, right? That's the honest thought. Okay, that's the honest thought. And so what you realize is that people hear what they want to hear because his response is going to tell you what he heard and how he summarized it. So let's listen to what he said.
I would love for you to be joining me on some of that sometimes.
How do you think life's going to be like when you have kids? It's not just go, go, go anymore.
Pause. Okay. Now, a lot of people identified with what Jordan said. A lot of people didn't, right? Some women who had kids were identifying with Jordan saying, yeah, when you're a parent, it's not just up and go. Some people who didn't like Jordan said, I can't believe Jordan's saying these things. Whatever your point is, doesn't really matter. Let's focus on this point here. The first thing he says, and it might be edited, is what? Let's just go. Let's just play it again. Listen to what he says, okay?
We get back and we go to happy hour one night. I would love for you to be joining me on some of that sometimes.
How do you think life's going to be like when you have kids? It's not just...
What part of his statement addressed what she said? I would like for you to be joining me on that sometimes. What should be your first response? I want to join you too. But what's his first response? How are you able to do that? Okay, how are you able to do that if, when you're a parent? He doesn't actually address her actual issue. What he addresses is the question in his own mind. Oh, Father, thank you for the revelation. I didn't even deep that, but I do that too. A lot of us answer a question that a question that's in our own mind. So when she says, I want to go to this place, that place, there's a question in your mind. I've had it myself, right? Let me give you an example of that. A girl says, I want to go and see 5 countries this year. Your head goes, it's already calculating, financially, this is not going to work out for me. So your first response is, how are you going to go to 5 countries? Instead of saying, do you know what? Hey, I heard that you want to go to 5 different countries. And I want to be honest with you, right now, financially, I'm not in a place to fit the bill for all those 5 countries. What I can do is contribute towards some of those holidays. Can we negotiate here? Maybe I can do 2 or 3. And I would love to, because I want to join you. It sounds like a great idea. I want to join you. That's very different from, you're not a parent. You're not a parent. You don't know how it is. That immediately is you invalidating what the person's saying. And many of us do this. But I'm talking about the men specifically. Men do this a lot because what they've done is calculate, and they've not recognized when you calculate, you must come back to validate. Otherwise, what you're going to do is invalidate with your calculation, and then you're going to cause yourself distance in the relationship. This is where Jordan's failing. And he's doing that because he's not able to be present in this moment. He immediately shifted to the future. And many of us, again, do this.
Go, go, go anymore, you know? Like, you really have to slow down quite a bit. I know you have like means for like a nanny and stuff, but
now pause it right here. Again, he's going to address something that's not actually need to be addressed. She does not need to slow down. I know it sounds mad. She doesn't have to slow down. What he's talking about is his own inability to be able to join you in that space. So he needs to own it. And it's scary because I think back to some of the conversations I've had in my past, and I did the exact same thing Jordan did, probably even worse. My worst fears of abandonment or betrayal or rejection is then projected onto you and answering your query or your question or your request. Instead of me saying, can I be honest with you? What I'm hearing is you want to go on several holidays, but this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I've got to fit the bill. Or do you know what I mean? In this scenario, he's saying you need to slow down. Why? Why? The key thing is he's focusing on the wrong thing. He's focusing on her, not him. No. So listen, Megan, I love the fact that you love to travel, go everywhere, go different places. I love that. Me personally, financially, it's actually more difficult to be able to join you in all those different places. What we can do is try and come up with a plan to try and be able to navigate all these different spaces. Like, I know you want to go to Aspen's on a Tuesday. I may not be able to follow you on that, but we can do something else that's a bit more spontaneous so that it still matches your energy that you have, you know, if that's plausible, if that works for you, right? Because he's right. He's not going to be able to join her in every single thing. He may not have the financial capacity. So if they're saying, okay, look, you know, in this scenario, you know, the tennis on a Tuesday, I work from 9 to 5, so I won't be able to join you from 9 to 5 at tennis. Can we find a late session where we can just do a late hours work, right? And we go and play tennis. Okay, I can't be spontaneous and leave work and go on a holiday. Can we plan something that, you know, maybe on a weekend we both go and do? Right? These are solutions to the table. Now, if she rejects it, then you already know this might not be the person for you. Right? But he's unable to come to that space because he's locked into the answers of safety, of the fear of him being pulled out of position. And I get it. And it's difficult because you're a slave to your emotions and you're not recognizing you're not free. You think you are, but you're not free until you're able to express the fullness of your emotions or what you're feeling within, which is oftentimes fear. Okay, my last few points, I've got to get away.
like, I don't really want a nanny. Like, I want to raise my kid. Like Legos and Luca, like that's my speed right now. I can't play tennis at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday.
Pause it. He said, listen, Legos and Luca are my thing right now. Actually, what he's really saying is, I'm digging my heels in. That's actually what he's saying. He may not realize it. I'm going to highlight it. He's digging his heels in. What he's really saying is, I am not going to do it. Reason being, because there's some other reason why. And it could be that there's not just financial constraints, it's time constraints, right? And that he may not be able to keep up the pattern that she requires in order for this relationship to go the way it needs to go. So what do we need to do here again? Okay, he's already made it negative rather than positive, reframing. Again, Legos and Luca are my thing right now. So what I need to do, I need to work out a plan how to be able to work around Luca and Lego so that I can actually spend that time with you, right? So don't slow it down. You keep doing what you're doing, but let's plan some things together that we're going to do together to create connectivity, to create a connection, to create the good times and the memories we need to have. And it's funny because I'll tell you, one of the scariest things for men financially is a massive thing, right? So let me give you an example. For instance, if your girl says she wants to go on a date every, quote unquote, say every week, right? Your natural thought is, how much money do I have? Can I make a date every week? And your first response might be, that's outrageous. Why would a girl want to go on dates every week? But actually, that's because you don't have the money. I'm not saying you're broke. What you're saying is you're calculated and it doesn't make sense financially. But what you're addressing needs a reframe. What it should be is that, hey, do you know what? Cool. I hear the idea. For me, because I believe I'm meant to pay the bill for these dates, I'm meant to fit the bill. Here's what I can do. I can do every month or every 2 weeks. I can plan something. And then what we can do, I can do a free date where we, maybe we do a date on FaceTime or this or that. Right. And that's the scariest place to be. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's scary to say that because what you feel like is inadequate and you don't feel good enough. As a man specifically, you feel inadequate and you don't feel good enough. So that when you can't meet those expectations. But what you don't recognize is she's making an ideal expectation. You are allowed to negotiate. You have the power to. But we haven't been taught these skills because it's either win or loss. And it's not a win or loss. It's understanding. It's coming together. It is togetherness. It's connectivity. So let me rephrase that. You know what? Luca and Lego is my thing, and I want to raise my child. I don't want a nanny. What I can do, though, is listen, he's with his mother 3 days in a week. Those 3 days where I work as well, let's do something in the evening. We'll do something spontaneous. We'll do something fun. Right? I'm not able to financially afford going into across the countries every time. You know, maybe if you're willing to contribute, then I'll be happy to, because I want to be able to spend that time with you. It makes me feel uncomfortable that you would have to fit the bill. It does, because I'm not there financially. But I definitely want to be able to plan dates, do these things for you. That's something I want to be dedicated to. But some of the extra stuff, like flying across the country, go different places, I financially I'm not able to within my budget. But if you do want to, but you know, if you're comfortable enough to contribute towards that space where you fit the bill for maybe the flights or whatever that we go across the seas, I'm actually happy to do that. Because I want to spend that time with you. I just don't. I'm afraid, and here's the truth. I'm afraid if I say you fit the bill, that this will be used against me later on. This is my fear. Right? I'm happy for you to say later on that you maybe want it to change dynamics. What I don't want to be is blamed. I don't want it to be used against me. I don't want it to be turned and said, okay, you know, I'm broke or whatever, or, you know, you don't do nothing for me. I don't want it to be that case. So I'm willing to be open to allow you to contribute in that area, but I don't want it to be turned against me later on. So if you know that when you do this thing, you're going to be resentful later on, don't worry. Leave it as it is. Let me just focus on the thing that I can do, and let's leave the other parts alone. That's a real honest conversation that sucks. But I got to go. My time is up. But that's just me trying to help you guys in terms of solutions. That's something Jordan can actually start doing as well. And if you're a man out there, this is exactly what I'm talking about. We focus on solutions that bring understanding, not win versus loss. Appreciate you guys. Stay locked. We'll see you again soon.